The last roundup, last roundup.
Welcome to the Last Roundup Horror Show. I am Frank, and with me today we have Ray McGuff, Jason, as always, and Jake Eilerman coming in hot, talking about the last 4 movies of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise so far. I hear there's going to be a new one. Randy sent me a link for, what was it, a 60-year-old Leatherface?
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's happening, I guess. But
oh, no, he's coming at me with his walker. Chainsaw's just connected to the walker.
Yeah. I mean,
there'll be some cool walker jokes, I'm
what's
sure.
wrong with just making him, like, 30? Like, what? Like, the Simpsons are always the same age. Like, why can't Leatherface, why do they have to jump around with ages, give us all ththese prequels? And I don't understand it. Just make another one. Just make another one that happened right after that. The first, I don't know. Let's start things off with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. This is one I walked out on when I saw it in the theater halfway through. I realized why, though, is because I wanted a whole shot-for-shot remake with that Arlie Ermy guy, or Emery. How do you say it? Because we're going to say it a lot. How do you say that?
Arlie Ermy? Yeah.
Oh, hang on. We got John Paul making an appearance here.
Uh-oh.
This will jar things up with some audio problems, huh?
Yay.
Hey, Jean Paul's here.
What's up?
There he is. No, not even an issue. We're just getting ready to jump into the 2003 remake. Are you ready for that, Jean Paul?
I guess so.
The summary for this movie: after picking up a traumatized young hitchhiker, 5 friends find themselves stalked and hunted by a deformed chainsaw-wielding loon and his family of equally psychopathic killers. Directed by Marcus Nispel, who did Pathfinder, the 2009 Friday the 13th remake. Written by Scott Kozar, who did The Machinist, Amityville Horror from 2005, and The Crazies from 2010.
All of the remakes he has done all of the remakes.
Basically.
So he's playing a Dune's bitch.
Yeah.
He's the reason why there's so many remakes. That guy right there.
But there are a lot of good ones. But Jason, what do you have? Any
Tagline: inspired by a true story, distributed by New Line Cinema and out on Blu-ray through Warner Brothers, 2009.
Yeah, right out of the bat, a positive. John Larroquette is back on the intro, which was good. I don't know the whole conceit of how they end up with the family drives me nuts, because why would they do anything past asking that hitchhiker if she needed help? Why would they go the extra step to get out and lure her into their van? I mean, she's clearly mentally disturbed. You don't pick up a hitchhiker anyways. But I do think that the suicide in the van, where she pulls the gun out of her evidently vagina and shoots herself in the head, that's one of the best shots in any movie. I mean, it's just great. It's wonderful how they did that.
I remember seeing that and just being like, what the hell just happened?
I think it holds up.
That was one of the craziest,
I mean, effects-wise. Wow. For it being that long ago, it holds up. But, yeah, I think I walked out of this movie mainly because I wanted more of a Drayton Sawyer type character instead of the sheriff. But over time, after rewatching it, I like him as a different sort of character. I really hate the Jessica Biel relationship with that asshole from Backcountry. What's that guy's name? Her boyfriend. The guy. The only movie I can think of is Backcountry, the bear movie, where he comes in and has dinner with this couple randomly.
He would be what, Morgan? Jonathan Tucker.
I can't remember any of the names.
It's either Jonathan Tucker or it's Mike Vogel.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I got the pulled up. So
I think this movie is really shot beautifully. It looks good. I love the shot where Leatherface hit Kemper's his name, the character, I guess, hits Kemper with a sledgehammer, and blood splatters on the TV that's playing old cartoons. It's like just some, like you can see some, I don't know, shit like that. I love. Well, overall, the movie's not as good as the original by any means, but it was a nice effort. I don't know. I don't think I like Jessica Biel. I don't know what else she's been in or anything, but she's.
Well, I mean, she was one of those where at the time this was kind of made because she had been on
Seventh Heaven, right?
Seventh Heaven.
So this is where she was trying to break out, get away from that wholesome girl image that she had on the show. So she went like, a lot of them did at the time, and went so far to a left to try to break away from that. I'm just going to be the girl next door image that.
Yeah.
Went, well, let's get into horror films.
They show a maskless Leatherface like for the first time, I think, in this movie, and I don't think I like it. I don't think I need that. He doesn't have a nose, and there's no. Did they explain that at all? I don't know.
In the beginning, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I wasn't
looking with the mask on. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, in Texas Chainsaw, the beginning, the sequel to this, they explain it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This freaking franchise. I tell you what, like my head is over here spinning, trying to distinguish what movie is what. Like this is going to be a cluster.
Oh yeah. Well, they keep wanting to retell the same fucking thing.
I tell you, it's hard to keep track of.
It's like the Spider-Man movies.
It's the same backstory, the same way, but like, oh, we're gonna tweak this one little thing, and we're gonna see if it's completely different. You're like, no, go.
And I promise you that most of the stuff they tweak is just for avoiding lawsuits or whatever. You know, I don't know.
Trying to be original when you're not.
I think this is also the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that features like a moral dilemma that any character has to deal with, because Jessica Biel has to kill that dude that's on the meat hook because he's like hung up or whatever. I don't think that happens in any of the other ones. So that's a new kind of thing. I think the house looks great. It's probably my favorite house from any of the movies. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
I thought I read somewhere that they actually tried to redo the house from the original, like the original Texas Chainsaw. They had actually tried to make it look as much like the house from the original.
Yeah,
so that it would fit in.
I think it looks better. It's more menacing it's like a character itself, kind of.
Right.
Two things I think they did wrong were, one, there was no family dinner scene at the end at all, and I think that's essential to all these movies. And two, when Jessica Biel is on the run, it's only Leatherface that's chasing her. Like, why wouldn't everybody else be out there? Even that little kid, get him out there, mix him up in there. But I'm not a big fan of how this movie ended, but I'm not going to nitpick it to death. I think it's a pretty good modern interpretation of this story. I give it an 8 out of 10. Jason, what you want to give your thoughts?
Oh, Jesus, Frank, I got so much to say about this movie. I'll try to make this quick. So, yeah, early 2000s slasher remake. I think it's one of the best remakes out there. And I think it's just a good movie on its own, period. Just forget that it's a remake. I will say this. I don't understand why people bitch about remakes so much. Like, here, next week we're doing a top 10 remake list. And when I sat down to try to do that, like, I have a hard time leaving some of these movies out. Like, there's so many good remakes out there, but whatever. Well, we won't get too into that. I like the look. I like the style, the feel of this, the cinematography. It's the same guy from 74, Daniel Pearl. There's awesome shots and awesome scenes all throughout this movie. Like, I was really impressed by that. Watching it again now and kind of paying attention to that, it's really good. And it has awesome atmosphere. It's lit well. The house looks great. It has cool settings pretty much throughout the movie. I think Leatherface is terrifying. I like his demeanor. He's very, very aggressive. whatever the guy, Andrew Brynarski or whatever. Also the dude from the program, the one that on roids, like that's Leatherface, and I think he does a great job. And he takes a beating in this, like he gets his legs sawed, gets his arm chopped off, like he gets his butt kicked in this one.
For once, he doesn't usually have anything.
Yeah. The acting's solid. I like the cast. The sheriff, he steals the show. He's mean, a lunatic. I love him. Like just his delivery on everything, his lines, everything is just perfect. Like he does that character very well. My only negative, and it's not even really a negative, but like other Texas movies before this, they brought in new characters. Like this was their chance to give me back the characters from '74. Just redo those characters. Just bring them up, give them an updated version. I think that would have been more nostalgic for us. Like we would have been able to connect to this movie right away just from having those characters. But no issues with the ones that they have. And what kind of got me thinking, they have like some like found footage clips in this. Not a huge found footage fan, but honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a found footage Texas. I wouldn't mind that look.
The way they wrap it around with the police footage.
Yeah. So that really got me thinking. Like I don't know. I'd watch it. I mean, screw it.
That'd be a pretty cool way to do a completely different version.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.
Anybody else? Jean-Paul, you just joined us. Why don't you give us your thoughts?
So I have no problem with remakes, but I do have problems with the Platinum Dunes remakes, and this is one of them. Like all of the Platinum Dunes remakes that came out, The Beginning, Jason's a little better, but even Nightmare on Elm Street, which I'm a huge fan of, they all feel like, hey, everybody get greased up full of oil and pour it in front of the screen and see what happens. And I'm not trying to knock you, Jason, because you like the cinematography, but I feel like that's their whole purpose of these remakes that Platinum Dunes did, was they made them really greasy and gritty and, more intense and whatnot, but the stories weren't really there. If you really look at the underlying story of this movie, there's nothing really there except, Leatherface finally looks more menacing. He actually is a true horror icon, and I feel like you didn't move the story forward. And again, I understand it's a remake, but it's not that great. I mean, I gave it a 5 out of 10 comparatively to the other ones, but there's nothing that moved forward in these stories of this one and The Beginning that made me think, let's continue Leatherface. If anything, it brought back and pushed the Leatherface further out of the icon, because it just became gore after gore after gore. And it's like, I love horror, but it doesn't need to just be like, here, let's just throw more splatter. And I say this, but I also love the Evil Dead remake, which is a completely different type of remake, because at least they took Evil Dead into a new direction. This was like, let's just throw like I said, oil can on people and make them look greasy and gritty.
It is a fireworks show.
Yeah.
For sure. Ray, what did you think?
I really like this remake. It's one of my top ones. I'm with Jason. I think it looks amazing. The acting's great. I like the original movie a lot, but everything about this movie brings it. It takes it up a notch. It makes it look better, and it's the same story. You're talking about the story. You're right. It doesn't move it forward. This one is a true reboot or remake. It's not a reboot. It's they're taking the same story. Some kids get lost. They get, to this house, and these people try to kill them. I mean, it's a very straightforward story.
And that's all you need. Give me Leatherface. Give me the aggression.
I thought Leatherface was great in this. Again, I didn't know the actor that was playing him, but I like that actor, and I guess that's probably why he looks menacing, because he's huge, in real life.
Yeah.
Again, I thought the kids were believable. Arlie Ermy is one of my all-time favorite actors. I could watch him do anything. So as the cop, he's fantastic.
It's pretty much the same character. Like, at least the movies that I've seen him do, like, he does that one thing, but he does it well.
Right, he does it well.
I love how his hat is pushed down so far that his ears are bent. Like,
they're like
it's goofy and like creepy at the same time.
But I'm a fan of this one. I think out of all these that I had to watch, this one I enjoyed the most. So I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Jake?
I was gonna say, I was like, this is one that I saw. I think I was probably maybe a sophomore, junior in high school when this came out. And I we talked earlier, that first opening scene, it just had me to just completely glued, because I had never actually seen the original until after I saw this, that I went back and saw the original, because I wanted to see what the difference it was. But I absolutely loved it. And it literally, for me, it started off as like, oh, this is going to be crazy. And then, I think out of all the ones we're going to talk about, I think this is the one that really kind of got me into the Leatherface story.
Right. Well, let's go forward in time and backwards in time at the same time, because I think what happened was at the end of the first remake, they kill the sheriff, right? Like, he gets run over multiple times at the end, correct? Spoiler alert. But I think that they're like, we love that character. We want to revisit that family again, because they do. They bring back like all the characters. And they did it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning in 2006. Summary for this film: before being sent to serve in Vietnam, two brothers and their girlfriends take one last road trip. But when they get into an accident, a terrifying experience will take them to a secluded house of horrors with a chainsaw-wielding killer. Directed by Jonathan Liebsman, who did Darkness Falls, and written by Sheldon Turner, who did The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. And also has, I think, a lot of help from David Shaw, who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Critters 3 and 4, The Crow, and The Hills Run Red. So he's got a lot of credentials there. Jason, do you have any info on this?
Tagline: Witness the Birth of Fear, distributed by New Line Cinema.
Yeah. So this one I never really gave a chance, because the first time I put it on, I felt like I watched a man get killed with a sledgehammer for real. And I just turned it off. It was an immediate bummer. Like 10 minutes in, it happens or something like that. But yeah, I think this movie is at least at least as good as the original reboot. I might have enjoyed it a little bit more because they gave more dialogue to the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sheriff scenes and a lot of dialogue.
I'm the sheriff now, Mama.
Yeah. When I realized they have this biker guy that gets involved at one point, and when I realized that was the same guy from fucking Wayne's World, Terry, you remember that guy?
Yeah,
he's the biker that's looking for his girlfriend. I immediately gave this movie some bonus points, because nobody fucking uses that guy. Nobody uses him.
He was in the show Oz.
Yeah,
he was also Chet in the Weird Science TV show.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Right. Yeah. I liked a lot of things about this. I liked how they showed Leatherface getting his first human mask. I like that. Mm-hmm. The sheriff gets his car in uniform, and it shows you how he gets his front teeth knocked out. I like how they show Uncle Monty losing his legs. I also learned that was that dude's name. The guy in the wheelchair from the original one. They also have a dinner scene, which didn't happen in the original reboot. So I liked this a lot. I gave this a 9. So yeah, I love how the bad guys win at the end of this one too. I gave a lot of points there. So Jason?
Yeah. So prequel to 2003 remake, and since they changed the characters, I like that we have the Hewitt family back, and I've grown to like them. I like the characters themselves now, so I guess they knew what they were doing in 2003. I think it connects the two movies together well. However, it doesn't feel as old as the movie in 2003 did. Not saying that had a real old feel to it either, but this one felt almost like it could be nowadays.
I think it was the clothing, because
like it's supposed to like the Vietnam era. Like it didn't feel like that to me.
No, not at all.
But this one's brutal. It's gory. I like leather again. Same dude, that Andrew Bryniarski. You mentioned the dinner scene. I think, yes, they brought that back. I think that is a staple. That's a signature to Texas Chainsaw to me. I think they all should have them.
Well, there's a recipe. There's a recipe to it.
It don't even have to be long. Just real quick.
Yeah. You just have to get the people. There has to be a gas station sequence or, whatever. They have to probably hit something on the road. That's always a nice touch. Then you get a couple chases, mix them up with the family a little bit. Then dinner scene, wrap it up. Really easy.
But I like the origin story. The story was good. This is my second time with this, and it was better this time. I didn't enjoy it as much the first time I watched it. I think this is a solid Texas Chainsaw entry. I gave it a 7.
John Paul.
Okay, so
Lord, he's got shit all over.
I know he doesn't like this. I already know.
It's got to be.
It's
got to be worse than the original.
I will tell you this.
At least agree on that.
I will tell you this. When this movie was coming out, I used to read Fangoria like mad. And I remember reading an article saying that Platinum Dunes promised to right the wrongs they made from the reboot. And that's what this movie seems like. It was like, hey, we're sorry we made the reboot that people didn't like, so let's just write you a fluffy piece backstory on the characters. And I liked it a little better because obviously there was a lot of crowd-pleasing scenes. And like you said, the dinner scene was great. But it's still, there's just something about it. It just kept that little weird grittiness just to keep oil clan people. Like I said,
he's got a personal vendetta against Platinum Dunes. I don't know what it is, but that dude, he does not like.
They owe him money or something. Yeah.
Maybe, but
they didn't buy his screenplay.
Yeah,
I loved their Friday the 13th, which was essentially Friday the 13th part 1 through 3 into one movie.
Yeah,
well, not this one.
I love that they did that. That was great that they crammed those 3 movies in the beginning.
Exactly. I thought that reboot was a lot better. Freddy, I've rewatched it now. There are things I enjoy about it, but these Chainsaw Massacres, I don't know. I don't like what they did. Okay. I mean, this one was a little better. I would give it maybe a point better. I don't know.
What's your point?
Oh, he liked this one better than the remake.
So would you give it like a 6? Then
I'd give it a 6. I'd give it a 6. Maybe a 7. There are still parts that I'm like, come on, you're just gore porning just to throw more gore porn. I will tell you this:
there's nothing wrong with gore or porn.
When I saw this at the theater,
people use that as a negative, but what's the negative? Like. I'm watching a horror movie. Give me some gore. And
I understand gore. Trust me. I have no problem with gore. But it's just when it's just to the point where it's just like redundant. It's just like, come on, give me some more. But I'll tell you a funny story. When I saw this in the theater, I saw it in Georgesville, here in Ohio, near where Randy lives, and some guy brought his baby to this movie.
Perfect.
And I was perfect. Like, what the fuck? And then,
you got to.
The baby is crying.
You see that as a baby, and nothing's ever going to scare you the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like literally, Leatherface is chopping up people, and this baby's crying in the middle of it. And I remember somebody yelling at the guy, going, "Hey, get your fucking kid out of here! We want to see Leatherface cut some people. Maybe he'll cut your baby." And I was
I think that should be a requirement, actually.
Yeah.
Screaming baby in the middle of this would have been amazing.
Shouldn't the theater just stop somebody at that point and be
You're
like,
like,
I'm with you.
No.
This started as it was a 10 o'clock show. They should have stopped it.
Yeah.
No, that's just a bad choice. You can't go in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to a child's film like we have?
Yeah.
But anyways, Jake, what did you say about this movie?
It's one of those. It's okay. I just felt like it was a lot, like kind of what he said. Kind of one of those that were just filling in the holes that I feel like they needed to. And then plus, I have the issue of I hate Jordana Brewster. I absolutely hate her acting. So I can't get over it. I'm sorry. I absolutely hate her as an actress. So it makes it so hard for me to watch this because all I sit there and do is I just look at her and be like, oh my God, you're such an awful actress. Sorry, I just can't.
Yeah, it must be like Sandra Bullock for me.
Yeah.
So what would you rate this out of 10?
Honestly, I'd probably give it like a 5 or a 6.
Right on. Well, we're going to take a little break here, and we'll come back and we'll hit the other two movies. Why don't we check out?
Would you like my rating?
Oh shit, Ray!
Oh,
There's too many
man.
people. Look, he's seriously offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. There's too many people. Yeah, do it.
Fine.
Do it up.
6 out of 10. It
Well,
was
what's
good.
your thoughts? We have 7
Oh,
minutes.
come on.
Okay. Yeah. So I gave it a 6 out of 10, Jason, but only because I liked it. But I'm with the other guys on the fact that I thought they tried to connect too much to the original. It was like the George Lucas prequel to me. It was like, hey, do you want to know how this guy lost his legs? Watch this. This is how it
Frank likes that.
Yeah.
Frank
I like
mentioned
it.
that.
So,
I liked it. It was
But
fun.
but I enjoyed it. Arlie Ermey was fantastic. I'm glad they brought the dinner scene back. I'm glad you guys brought that up because I think that every one of these needs it. But my other problem is, hey, we're going to start eating people now because we all lost our jobs, right? There's cattle so prevalent in this area that people are running into them on the fucking road.
Yeah, they got a lot of livestock overall.
So,
they got swine.
You're not
and
starving. You're just
yeah, it
insane
seems
now.
like they ought to give it a few years first.
yeah,
The
Yeah,
goddamn
that's right.
armadillo.
But I enjoyed it enough to give it a 6 out of 10. So.
yeah. Which, by the way, you can't eat an armadillo. Did you guys know that? You cannot eat
No.
one. They will give you what is it? Leprosy. So,
Wow.
little tip for life.
Hey, lick my plate, you dog dick!
And we are back. How was that, guys? You ready to talk about Texas Chainsaw? Or is it Texas Chainsaw 3D? I didn't watch it in 3D. Did you guys watch this in 3D?
No,
Yeah, I did.
Really?
No.
I don't know. You go to movies and stuff. You might have
I
watched this
did
in
it in theaters years ago.
You saw it
Yeah, I know.
in 3D in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Did they have the actual? Was this during the actual 3D conversion where you had the heavy duty glasses
Yeah.
jump on? Yeah. Okay. So
Did they-
I mean, what did it look good or did it look shitty?
I mean, not really. I mean, for me,
it doesn't. Of course, it looks shitty. The whole movie's shitty.
Yeah, it's not. It's not good. I was just asking if the special, 3D
I know.
effects looked all right.
I know.
It seemed
Yeah.
like they only played with that a couple times. I don't know. Yeah, but anyways, this is from 2013. A young woman travels to Texas to collect an inheritance. Little does she know that an encounter with a chainsaw-wielding killer is part of the reward. Directed by John Lucenhop. I didn't see anything that I recognized on his credentials. Written by Adam Marcus, who did Jason Goes to Hell, so that's part of the problem. Deborah Sullivan, who is Adam Marcus's wife, and then Kristen Elms and Steven Susko, who did.
Well, there's too many writers.
Yeah.
It don't really
Yeah.
matter. They could have been really pretty good writers, and it probably still would have got messy.
Yeah, Steven Susko
Four
worked on the Grudge movie.
4 different writers,
Yeah, 4.
and they still messed up the story. Like they still had so much wrong. How does it get by 4 writers? How do these mistakes get by 4 writers?
Well,
understand.
there's mistakes from Jump Street, but do you have any information on the release in case anybody wants to pick this up
yeah.
for their collection?
Tagline: Evil wears many faces. Distributed by Lionsgate and on Blu-ray. Same year, 2013.
Tagline should just be fucking no.
Right off the bat, though, the issues I have with it are how they inserted Bill Moseley in the old footage from the first film. It looked completely out of place and wasn't even needed. It was completely unwarranted. And then they show the interior of the house, and there are all these new fucking people in there. I mean, you got fucking Gunnar Hansen's in there for some reason. He's just a regular guy. It seems like there's nothing twisted about him. He's just like a hillbilly or whatever. But yeah, I don't know why they did that. They weren't present at the end. This is supposed to be a direct sequel from the first movie, from what I read. Why would you insert all those extra people for no fucking reason?
And
it
takes place 10 minutes after the original ends.
And don't give Bill Moseley any
people in
credits.
the house.
I don't want to see Bill Moseley on the front of this fucking movie because he's in it for 5 minutes and he barely says anything. He's not even in it for 5 minutes, but yeah.
He doesn't do a good job.
No.
He does not act like Drayton Sawyer. He's not Drayton Sawyer.
No. I did laugh out loud at one point whenever Leatherface takes his chainsaw, cuts the van's tire, and then you see a shot. The shot they chose to use for this is just from behind Leatherface. You see this van go and just jump and it turns on its side, and that's hilarious. That's some Naked Gun shit right there.
That was 3D, Frank.
Oh, I bet.
That was 3D. Yeah.
It was. I did think it was cool that they showed Leatherface sewing his mask to his face. I mean, I never really thought about how he keeps that thing on, but that's a cool, gruesome way to do it. But there's a moment in this movie. Essentially, what happens is this girl inherits this house, and it's the Leatherface. It's the whatever family name they've given them in this. I don't know what they've chosen, but
Sawyers.
Sawyers.
It's 2 clans, remember?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
But
he shut it off halfway through.
Yeah.
This girl, her friends are getting killed by Leatherface through the whole movie. There's no other family except for him. It's just him.
And they're not really her friends, though. We find out through the movie.
One's
that
her
they're
boyfriend,
shitty.
though, right?
No, well, he's cheating on her. They're shitty friends.
But still,
they're terrible people.
They are terrible people.
But still, she's very cool with, like, she's not even that fucking freaked out whenever Leatherface is wearing that dude's face around. But she
remember,
sides.
she's a butcher.
Yeah, she finds out that they're related and he'll protect her and all this stuff. And at the end of this movie, she throws him a chainsaw.
Yeah, she does.
And says the line.
Do your thing, cuz. Do your thing, cuz. Do your thing, cuz.
Do your thing,
right.
To
cuz.
which I say, fuck this movie. What the hell? I think in a cool sort of alternative universe sort of way, this is interesting, kind of like the same thing.
Jake says no.
Then the same way that Jason Goes to Hell is an interesting project. It's an interesting idea. I don't want this to be the legacy of these films, so I'm very glad that they didn't continue the trajectory that they did. But I believe that the next one we're going to talk about was linked to this for some reason. But there are a lot of people that approved of this movie being made. I mean, Marilyn Burns is in it, Gunnar Hansen, Bill Moseley. I mean, these are people from the franchise. But, I think it's enjoyable enough to watch one time, but the ending is very reminiscent of a movie we watched on this show called Slaughterhouse. Like the ending reminded me exactly.
Slaughterhouse is better.
But doesn't the ending of this seem a lot like they ripped it straight from that? I give it a 6 out of 10. Jason, what do you think?
So I mean, I liked that they had the cameos in there. even though the characters that they're playing didn't need to be there. The highlight for me for this movie is seeing Leather run through the fair or the carnival.
Oh yeah,
whatever
that
they're
was
at.
cool.
Like
That
that
was
was a
cool.
great scene. Like that's definitely when that's when they used a chainsaw throw at the screen for the 3D. So that kind of took me out of it. But that whole scene there, that's pretty cool. I liked him seeing him out in the real world. The actors, the characters, the production, the concept, everything was there. But the writing, this is a complete writing failure. Like what? So on my phone, like I make little notes on my voice recorder as I'm watching the movie, and I died laughing when I went back and listened to it because you could hear how like lost I was. I'm like, what year is this movie supposed to be made? Like I really sound like I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, so like the timeline doesn't add up. The girl would have been like close to 40 years old by now. Leather would have been 60 years old. And like he's still moving around pretty good in this movie. Like I don't believe he's 60 and she's 20 years old, not close to 40. At the latest, this movie should have been in the 90s.
Right, and that's kind of what I thought.
Right,
That's
it should have
what
been
I
in the
thought,
90s, and then you got him FaceTiming during the movie. Like it just on the tombstone, it says when the year she died was 2012. Like that doesn't. So why'd you have a 20-year-old girl? If this girl was a baby in 73, she should be like 40 years old now.
39.
Right.
The actual math, she would have been 39.
And
in the
that got by 4 writers. Like how does that happen? Like that's just it's a complete failure in that sense. Again, this is my second watch on this movie. Again, the production and stuff, it's there. Like they did a good job with that. 4. I give it a 4 just for the production value.
John Paul, what do you say?
Man, I'm the asshole.
I know you like this.
I do. I enjoy this movie. It is a lot of fun, and I'll tell you why this was fun. Because even though yes, there were shit that did not add up, like the ages and shit, but the fact that they tried something new,
I give it that.
With a new studio, even because this was the studio that brought Saw and all of the those movies, and decided to tackle on Texas Chainsaw Massacre because New Line said we can't do it. Let's give it to somebody else a try. And then I like the fact that they brought back the cameos. I was happy to see Gunner more than anything else. I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. And this the main actress, I forget her name right now. I mean, I feel bad for her because she tries so hard to be in a lot of different movies and in horror movies lately, and she just can't get out of anything. She's just like, oh, it's her. She's in whatever, and people are like, yeah. She's not going anywhere. But the movie was enjoyable for me. I don't know. I like the alternative universe, like you put it. It was fun. I give it an 8.
But the story, like it's just that's unforgivable.
I get you, Jason. I know. I understand what you're saying.
You talked about how the story didn't progress in the remake 2003. This one completely butchers its own story.
Well, I mean, at least it tried to give you a new part of story. I mean, hell.
But how does that get by 4 writers?
Rob Zombie.
What happens?
Rob Zombie did the same kind of story with this when he did his remake of Halloween. If you really look at it, it's the same thing. The whole Jamie character ends up being, a distant relative.
Yeah, I think that if you look at it, like there is a lot of story in this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
I also want to say that Rob Zombie should not write anything ever again. just direct movies. You're good at directing movies. Just don't write.
Yeah, I like a few of them.
I like 31.
Yeah.
31's a blast.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that one yet, but Anyways, let's go. Oh, let's. What did you think, Ray? What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I did not like this at all. I mean, I had it was more fun to watch than the beginning, I guess, because I had no idea what the fuck was happening. I'm kind of like Jason. I'm like, what year is this supposed to be? Who are these
So
people?
confusing.
Yeah, like it opens up. The beginning is amazing. Like it starts off, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna dig the fuck out of this, and then that just stops, and it's this other thing, and I'm like, I actually laughed out loud when she was like, gave him the chainsaw and was like, get him, cuz. I was like,
Yeah,
that's the most
no
Texas
one
chainsaw
mentioned
thing.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that happened.
Oh,
in
I
this
said that.
movie.
I very much mentioned that.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed my ass off because I was like, that's reminiscent of old shit, like, get him, cuz, like it made me laugh right up. And then, like, yeah, fuck all these people, Frank. The boyfriend's cheating on her in the fucking barn when she's getting chased. They all deserve to die. They're terrible people.
They do, but they were okay. They were crappy people, but they were her friends that she went there with, and then some monster slays all of them.
Yeah, think about your worst friend.
She decides she's going to stay there and take care of him.
Think about it's your cousin, though.
Think about your worst friend, Ray. Like the person that you can think of as like more of an acquaintance. Like, imagine if you're with them someplace and they get killed, and then you find out that the killer's your cousin, but he looks like Leatherface. Do you go
killed
with
all
him?
your friends?
Oh,
killed all of you.
Am I staying
All
alive?
of you are dead.
Wait,
I'm going to stay and take care of him.
But anyways, the ending is terrible. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kept waiting for it to like make some sort of sense. First off, they've killed the entire police force. Nobody's going to forget that. They go back to the same house. What? He's just going to go back to his basement, and she's going to feed him people food.
Yeah.
I mean,
And why is is the white guy the mayor?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is he telling the deputy what to do?
Yeah, he was the mayor.
The guy from Office Space that gave her the keys. That wasn't the mayor.
No,
the guy that's telling
mayor
the
with the
deputy to go in the house.
Frank, and
Oh, okay.
And he's like, "Go in there, Billy," and take your gun.
Yeah.
Why is he
mayor.
telling a deputy what to do? Why is he listening to a mayor?
And I mean, he was fucking terrible too.
Texas, that's why.
He made me laugh.
Right.
That was one of my other favorite lines, and then I'll give it the rating and be done. He comes running in. He's like, "Some 7-foot son of a bitch is running our fair." That made me laugh, really hard. So I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was what it was. I will never watch it again. I don't need to.
Yeah, that mayor guy, he was at the beginning. He's been fucking with the police the whole time because he doesn't give a shit about him at all. He's been cucking that black sheriff forever. like I'm just here and we're gonna kill all these people. And then he fucking kills them, and then nothing happens, and then he becomes mayor. He's like Biff Tannen in some ways. But
and let's not forget that Clint Eastwood's son is in this.
That's right.
That true?
Yeah.
Who was he?
He was the sheriff's deputy, the young guy.
Okay.
An extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other weird things I noticed about this is the guy from Office Space that gives her the keys, the lawyer. He could have told her, he knew. Like the whole time he could have because she even goes, he's like, "You're bringing people with you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, well, whatever."
Yeah.
He could have right then.
What did the letter from the grandma too, guys? The letter from the grandma. Dearest baby that was disappeared a long time ago, I could have helped. I didn't help you. Please come and take care of your crazy psychopathic cousin who's now living in the basement.
They took out jabs.
Yeah,
I was expecting her to throw a fucking diamond necklace in the ocean at the end.
That was Marilyn Burns that played that role. Jake, what did you give this movie?
Fucking 2.
Okay.
I hate this movie. I honestly give it a 2 simply because like the cameos are the only thing that I enjoyed about it. And what's funny is the first time I saw this, I hated it, and then I had to watch it earlier today, and I'm so glad that you guys brought up the scene at the end with the chainsaw and the cuz. Because the only thing I rooted for the first time, and I don't know why I still rooted for it this time. I was just hoping he was gonna turn and just fucking just right off of her head. Just
Would have
to,
been way cooler, right?
oh my god, I'd have been like, this is the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
And she's like, their cousin. He just looks at it and just fucking turns and off. Like that was fucking great. Like
That would have redeemed a lot of the things that happened.
oh, absolutely. I'd have been like, greatest movie ever made. Like totally didn't see that coming. But other than that, this movie was complete shit.
Yeah.
Hate it.
I mean,
And I hate
that
that I
line
still
was
have to
like,
do it again.
place your bets from Freddy versus Jason in the previews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move into a masterpiece of cinema from 2017, Leatherface.
Ugh.
Because you can't, that name was already taken, kind of, but just do it again. Summary for this film: a teenage Leatherface escapes from a mental hospital with 3 other inmates, kidnapping a young nurse and taking her on a road trip from hell while being pursued by a lawman out for revenge. Directed by Alexandre Bustillo and Julianne Murray. These people always work together. It's a weird IMDb page.
I see the Livid and Inside are 2 movies that I've seen of theirs. I like those.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened here.
They did a piece on ABC's of Death 2 too. So,
yep.
And written by Seth M. Sherwood, who did the film Hellfest. I've heard a lot of good things about that. I don't know if it's
I like that movie.
Jason, do you have any details?
Yeah. Tagline: Witness the beginning of your end. Distributed by Lionsgate and on Blu-ray 2017.
Yeah, the end, all right.
Yeah, I mean, they'll make another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie one way or the other, but this was not the start of anything. I don't know what they were doing with this. It sort of falls into this weird realm of shit I just really don't care about. I mean, the other prequel movie, I mean, it had a lot of shit most people don't care about. This one had nothing that anybody should care about. It was like
That's all I can say.
Give me all the new Leatherface stories you want. Give them to me. I got time for them. I don't need an overwrought history lesson like this. It doesn't line up with anything I know of the character. And I'll be damned if I didn't think the wrong dude was Leatherface through most of this fucking movie. I don't know if that was on purpose.
No, it's hard. They failed on that too. As soon as they put out the theatrical poster, it shows you which one's Leatherface.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even, he's not a fat dude.
Right.
Yeah, he should have been the long-haired dude. That guy was even moving like Leatherface. Shit.
That's what makes sense. I don't know.
I was so pissed off.
Trying to guess which one's Leatherface on a story about Leatherface seems ridiculous to me. Like,
I mean,
give me Leather right from the get-go.
That kid looked and moved like Leatherface, did not say much like Leatherface. The other kid's talking the whole fucking movie, running his mouth. Right. He might as well have been River Phoenix on Stand By Me as much as he was fucking talking.
Skin it.
And this movie, like 30 minutes in, I just still didn't care about anything that was happening. It was like watching a CW teen version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. The people that try to do something outside of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre formula, I mean, good for you, but it rarely works. It's a real easy fucking thing to make these movies, I think. I mean, you just follow the recipe. It's like baking brownies. If you fuck around with a brownie recipe,
stick to the basics.
It's like making a nice chili, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, just get some people, throw them at the house, and land them there somehow. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the mulligan is or MacGuffin or whatever you want to call it to get them there. But I don't know who this movie was made for. I like I said, I thought the wrong guy was Leatherface until he got killed, until he got shot in the head. I thought the fat kid was him.
Like, well, that's not him.
I liked how they recreated the house from the original movie. This is the one where they actually like detailed the house down to, I mean, it was perfect. And I liked Steven Dorff. I mean, but I always like Steven Dorff. I even like him in those fucking commercials he was in for vape cigarettes. Yeah.
-1, I'm tired of being a walking ashtray. -2, I'm tired of feeling guilty every time I want to light up. I'm Steven Dorff. I've been a smoker for 20 years.
He's like the cool kid in high school.
I've liked him since The Gate, and I'll always like anything he does.
I love Steven Dorff.
He was the best part of Blade, right? I mean,
Yeah.
But,
Explorer.
Yeah, I mean,
just recently, Frankie was in True Detective on HBO,
yeah.
and he was like winning awards and shit. So.
yeah, he should. He deserves it.
was awesome.
I think this movie is shot beautifully. I mean, it's probably just the cameras, though. I mean, at this point, the money you throw at a camera can really do a lot. I give this a 5 out of 5. Nothing pays off. I am glad that the bad guys win.
5 out of 10.
Oh, 5. Oh, yeah, 5 out of. No, 5 out of 5. Sounds right.
A perfect score.
No, but nothing.
Nailed it.
I do like how at the end they the bad guys the bad guys win. Because this is where like you wanted at the end of the last movie, Jake. The what, a nurse or whatever she is, nun. What is she?
Yeah,
she gets her head cut off.
Yeah,
you know.
There's my spot.
So yeah. Anyways, Jason, what do you say? You got a 5 out of 5?
No. Prequel to 74. Again, this doesn't feel old to me. It doesn't feel like it's in the right time. I think it's cast well. I think the acting's solid. The production, cinematography, everything's there. Everything's done well. It has a good amount of gore. The practical effects look good. Has some cool death scenes, but it doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw movie to me. I wanted more Leatherface with chainsaw kills. It's like he took another back seat to a movie that is about him. Like that baffles me. Like there's always other strong characters. Like he's never really been like out in the forefront through Texas movies. Like there's always characters like Chop Top and Drayton. Like they're up there. They help carry the movie themselves too. This one was supposed to be about Leatherface, and like I didn't get Leatherface. It's a 5 for me.
John Paul.
Well, Jason, I hated this movie.
There you go.
I really did. I didn't see this in the theaters. I tried to watch it 3 times and finally got through it. It was just boring.
Rough. It's rough.
It was just boring. Yeah, it was shot well, like you said. And I think, Ray, you brought up, you totally nailed it. It's like a CW show. It's like instead of the one before this where they thought, oh, fuck, we got to course correct. They're like, well, no, teens are watching these movies, so let's make it a teen-type movie. And they failed miserably. It was just bad. Like, you get, some of the kills were cool, but man, did it suck.
Yeah, the curb stomping, or I guess it's not a curb, it's a rock. But that was really brutal. But of course, that was the guy I thought was the fucking Leatherface the whole time. But whatever. What did you give? What did you give it score wise?
What's the lowest I can give it?
I mean, do we do zeros?
I don't think we do zeros.
One, I guess. One.
Yeah, that's right in the Oregonian territory.
Oh my God! Now see, when you put those two movies, compare those two movies. Have you seen Oregonian?
A long ass time ago. You're
oh
right.
My God!
Worst
movie I've ever seen so far.
I still give it a 1.
The Witch was really bad from my perspective, but a lot of people love it.
There's different levels of each number, so yeah, you can give it a 1.
All right, Ray, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm pretty much with the consensus on this. This is absolute garbage. Like Jason said, the movie's called Leatherface. It's not called Stand By Me as Let's Escape from Cuckoo's Mountain Nest. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It was nonsense. The everything about this except for Steven Dorff, which I will give a tip of hat to. I liked his story, but this could have been a completely different movie. Didn't need to be Leatherface. Could have been kind of cool, probably. Bunch of nutcases break out and go on a killing spree. They get to a weird shack. They fuck each other over a dead body in the shack, which...
Yeah, that was a weird scene.
Went on for quite a while. I didn't know if I was supposed to be
Yeah.
aroused or disgusted, but it was kind of a little.
He was
of
like
both.
really licking that dead
Yeah.
guy's face.
She's really getting
Oh,
into it and like licking the lips, and I was like, wow, I don't think she's going over and above what I would do for $12.50 an hour. But hey, whatever. You know.
Yeah, they should have just called it Stand By Me, but with psychopaths.
I'm with, yeah, with Frank. I don't understand why the fat kid wasn't leather.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
And
They
then
went out of their way to find somebody that looks just fucking like him. That's
Yeah,
the thing that
they
drives me
want
nuts.
you to try to.
Yeah.
Okay, they're
The
making
old
it obvious. Like, it's not him then.
it's the old switcheroo. For what purpose? It was fucking terrible. Had some great practical effects. I'll give it that. Like you guys said, shot beautifully. It looked, especially the daytime shots looked cool. But at the end of the day, this movie was garbage on a level that I couldn't believe would be released with this name attached. So I'm going with a 4 out of 10.
Wow. Jake, what do you say? What's your score?
I'm also gonna say 4 out of 10, simply because I'm Steven Dorff. I actually years ago, and thank God I still don't own it, bought this in the like $5 bin at Walmart, simply because I thought it was like a knockoff Leatherface. Like I thought by the name, since they didn't call it Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that it was like a knockoff, like one of those like cheap fake movie versions. So I was like, oh,
like
this
like Transmorphers or something?
Yeah,
Transformers.
right.
yeah, kind of like
Yeah,
a low budget one of those when they were doing the like movies at dark series where like people were making their own. So I was like, oh, maybe this is a completely different like movie. Like they just happened to call it Leatherface.
when I first heard about this movie, I thought they were just like updating Part 3, Leatherface.
Yeah,
Like,
so I just
I was
thought it
kind
was
of
completely
excited
different.
for it,
Like
and then-
it had nothing to do with the actual like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then it was like, oh, this is trying to be fucking no. So yeah, that's
Yeah. Well, we're gonna run out of time here, but I want
No, Frank, how much time we got?
We got
gotta
8.
do trivia.
Okay,
Yeah, send
well,
the link back out.
here
Let's
we
take a
go.
break.
We'll take another little break. We'll be back. 'cause
I'm Leatherface.
they're-
Sorry, go on.
hey, that's a good movie. Now I just want to watch that. Idle Hands, good movie.
I love that movie.
Anyways, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Do your thing, cuz. Do your thing, cuz. Do your thing, cuz.
Hey, we're back. See how that works?
Very nice. So do you guys know the funny story about the production of this piece of crap?
Which piece of crap?
Leatherface?
Leatherface.
No, what's that?
So New Line, and I'm sorry, Lionsgate was going to lose the rights to making these movies.
I thought we were going to be
Rushed
on
out.
another Platinum Dunes rant.
This
Go
is-
ahead.
This is good old Lionsgate. They decided, they wanted to retain the rights to this character, so they just threw this movie out, and that was why it's such crap.
Oh, it was just to keep the rights to
Just to keep
use
the
it.
rights. Yeah.
if they don't go so many years without making a movie, they lose the rights to it, and so they literally had to throw one together.
Yeah.
That's-
Which is why you get a $5 bin of this movie.
yeah, exactly. Didn't even freaking know. Like I wish I still had it because literally nothing in the cover says that it's a Texas Chainsaw. It just says Leatherface.
Right. The whole rights thing is really weird, especially how sometimes, like after a certain period of time, shit's just public domain unless you keep it up. That's why I think Night of the Living Dead is public domain now. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, which is weird that they're released.
Too.
It's weird that they release like a Criterion collection when it's like, no, we own that already. You should just give it to us because everybody should just get one in the mail.
Yeah.
But anyways,
What I
Jason
feel
has,
about the movie Leatherface.
Jason has some trivia
Yeah.
for the is it the whole franchise or what?
No, it's just the original, I think. I think it's just on the original. Yes. So it's only pertaining to the original.
So what are we doing? Are we playing a game or are you just reading trivia?
He's just going to read trivia.
Yeah, I'm just going to read the question. The first one answers wins.
Oh, okay.
Do I win a
Win.
Neo Geo?
Yeah.
All right. In what year was the first film released in the U.S.?
1974, right?
Yep.
19
Yep. Frank gets a point.
I got 1 point.
So someone better keep track of the points. True or false? This movie wasn't released in Australia until the early
True.
1980s.
True.
It is true.
I got it.
Whoever said that, I don't know.
I did.
Everybody
I said
did.
it first.
Everybody.
I yelled
everybody
it halfway through him reading the question. I said,
I yelled it
I think it has for the
thoroughly and with more confidence.
No. That goes.
I said it halfway
Jake
through the
gets
question.
that
I yelled
Doesn't
true.
matter. I get the point.
No, Jake gets that point.
Oh,
Oh,
and I'm done. No.
All right, here we go. Was this film made in black and white or color?
Black and white.
Color is the correct answer.
Yeah, it would have been cooler if it was black and white. Go on.
Can you name the actress who plays Sally Hardesty?
That's Marilyn Burns.
That's correct.
Frank's got two.
Entertainment Weekly magazine once voted this film the second scariest film ever made, behind which film?
Night of the Living Dead.
Exorcist.
Night of the
The Exorcist is the correct answer.
Oh, it's a tie.
No, God.
Guys, take turns. Take turns next time.
I yelled it. You yelled it. You get the fucking point. You win.
You're winning.
Remember,
I'm competitive. I don't know why you're shocked by that.
remember, just like whose line is it? The points don't matter.
Here's a wild card. There's a wild card. This could even the race.
Points?
Yes. This is worth 2 points right here.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
What was the running time for this film?
86 minutes.
83, 86, or 89?
89.
I said 86. I got to be right.
79.
83.
89.
83 is the correct answer.
1 hour 26 minutes.
Oh, Scott asked this in the last show. What type of chainsaw was used in this film?
Oh, God.
Benford 2000.
Yeah, Ray's got it. I'm agreeing with him again.
It's a Craftsman.
I don't think anyone's going to get it. I don't think we're all lumberjacks here. It's a Poulan 306.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to freaking say it. All right, here we go.
And Scott knew that last time too, didn't he? Without any help.
Yeah.
No, he was
looking at trivia. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who directed this film?
Toby Hooper.
Toby Hooper.
Everybody
that sounds like a
wins.
tie to me. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I get the point.
Can you name either of the two working titles for this film? For 10 points.
Oh, wow. 10 points would really bring me up to the top of the heap. But
Let's go, Frank. You get 2 guesses. Go.
I can't pull any of them. I know I've seen it before.
Randy, you got a guess?
Drayton Sawyer.
You guys are sucking.
Sorry.
Anybody, Jake?
It's like The Family or something like that.
It's like Slaughterhouse or something like that.
It's like The Family or something like that.
Anybody?
Hitchhiker's Cuts.
Head cheese and Leatherface.
I was close. I was
gonna guess Leatherface, but I was like, man, that seems too obvious.
Yeah.
Last one for 100 points. True
Oh
or
my
false?
God.
This film was shot in chronological order.
False.
True.
True.
Wow.
Frank wins.
Good job, Frank.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a parade around my house now. Anyways, I wanted to play the trailers for what we have picked for next month. I don't know if any of you guys will be joining us, but this is what me and Jason will be watching. I'm gonna go ahead and play this.
Are you going to say their names or?
No, I want you to watch them and learn them all at the same time.
Ooh, surprise.
The entire town of Pahuta is tuned to Superstation 66.
That's real.
Please, this stuff's killing me.
That was funny.
But while Dangerous Dan O'Dare is rocking the airwaves, a disc jockey from outer space is about to change the frequency to total terror.
I already love this movie.
Have you ever seen this, John Paul?
Many times.
You got a great soundtrack. You got some Blue Oyster Cult on it. My favorite's,
Can you
I
believe
believe
this
it's
guy with a
Psychotic
maniac?
Symphony or something like that.
He's offering a prize.
You got Molly Quinn from
Woman Who's Listening.
Day.
Hey, whatever they're doing, it's intense.
A one-way trip to another galaxy.
It really sucks.
And that's Jason's review of it.
This shit screams garbage.
Oh my God.
Turn off your radio.
This is a full moon movie. That's
This is, I would say, this is full moon at its finest.
It's connected to the Doll Man universe, so that's fun.
And Transfer.
Bad channels. In space, no one is safe from rock and roll.
So true.
I almost made Ray watch this once.
Oh, it would have been a good one.
Yeah, we did. I remember that trailer.
This is my other pick, Monsterland.
Hey, you guys hear that? Something's wrong.
It's like an anthology type movie.
You look even worse than I feel. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, this looks cool.
Fuck. Yes. Special effects.
I'm in. Where do I find that?
I'm not sure. I have it on DVD. I bought it at Big Lots for like $3.
Good evening, Walnut Lake shoppers.
It's closing time.
The store will be closing in 15 minutes.
But the night crew still has work to do.
Oh my God, we're gonna get in so much trouble.
Because there's one last customer who isn't satisfied.
No, this creep keeps calling her. He's driving us nuts. Leave me alone.
He wants to slash their prices.
Who's there?
He wants to cut their inventory.
You're crazy.
In fact, he wants to chop until they all drop.
I saw him kill Linda.
And now he's turning their retail store
There's gonna be one more killing here tonight.
into a wholesale slaughterhouse.
I'm just crazy about this store.
Intruder.
All I can tell you is it's wild, it's practically untouched, and you're gonna love it. It's really beautiful.
There is nothing to be afraid of.
They wouldn't have left us up here all night if there wasn't something wrong.
Your friends aren't really missing. They're not really dead. This is just some kind of joke.
What the hell was that?
That thing that's out there, whatever it is, can't be real. It's just your imagination.
I swear I'm not dreaming. I'm not dreaming.
Or maybe, just this once, you're dead wrong.
Once upon a time.
The legend is told in whispers, an unholy tale of an unknown force alien to this world.
You don't know what you're dealing with, lady.
Without knowing, they have awakened a terrifying evil.
We want to get out of here.
Alone and unprotected, now comes the naked horror. The final terror.
Yeah, but anyways, that's the
I
show.
like that movie.
That's the show, guys. Do you want to promote anything, guys? You guys all have podcasts, so. Ray, do you have anything coming up, or?
Yeah, we have the What the Fuck Did I Just Watch? WTF Did I Just Watch?
Right.
Podcast on June 5th, is it, Frank?
June,
You know?
June
I don't
2nd.
know. Nobody's told me.
June 2nd, sorry.
Nobody told me yet.
I get to show my titties.
Yeah, John wants to show his large man boobs off.
Yep.
Well,
Oh, Jason,
happens
come
to
on.
happens to all of us.
Hey,
I want to tune
I'm
into
just
that.
saying, man, if you're comfortable with it, let them out, man.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
But
Hey,
so
it's
and
what
what-
gets the clicks.
hey, John Paul, what's the name of that stupid fucking show we're watching now?
We're watching The Phoenix.
That's right.
1980.
I have to do that tomorrow. It's on YouTube apparently.
Like a whole season of a show you have to watch?
Yes.
Wow.
What?
No
It
wonder
only-
it's so far ahead in the future.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
It only has 5 episodes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but apparently it's really bad, like
Yeah.
terrible. But
Yeah.
Jenny wanted to. It was one of her favorites when she was a kid, and I've never even heard of it before. So
You don't seem very excited about it, I'll be honest.
I don't like shit that I have to like go to YouTube to watch. I want to just watch it on a service or be able to rent it. I don't like to have to dig for shit. So
It's true. But sometimes you find gems. Oh, shit. But Jake's got a new something about sports coming up. What are you talking about there, Jake?
We're going to be diving into athletes that became actors and some famous actors that you didn't know actually were famous athletes.
So it's going to be mostly about Shaq and what's his
no,
name? David
we're gonna
Arquette?
No, we're gonna dive a little into people that you may not have realized actually went into acting after. Like you may have seen them in movies, just never realized. Oh, hey, that's the same. You know,
Yeah, like
kind of
Terry
thing.
Crews or something like that.
No, more like Jim Brown. To kind of put a teaser in there.
yeah.
And then maybe some people that you may not have realized, like in college, were actually like, D1 college football players. One of which actually has more wins in college than he has had in his like awards in his acting career, and it's a pretty long acting career.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be doing another Last Roundup Horror Club at the end of this month, where we'll be doing I decided we'll just do another bracket. We've got some new face-offs to go on. Let's see if maybe Hellraiser or Pinhead, whatever the fuck you
The
want.
winner is not Pinhead.
He's the current champion.
That
I mean, if you look at it
bracket
like
was full of shit.
if you look at it,
Pinhead, you know what?
Jason's calling a redo.
I want to go back and I want the vote to be, who do you like better? Who do you like better? Not
But I
who-
thought that was who could beat each other was the thing, right?
That's
use your own criteria. We'll do it. Use your own criteria.
Ready?
Get a vote. That's all you can ask, Jason.
A vote. We're
Oh,
democratic
God.
here.
All right, we'll leave it.
We'll be doing that. We'll also be. What else are we gonna do? We're doing top 10. What was
Remakes.
it? No, we just did that.
No
Horror TV shows?
Yeah,
TV
horror
shows.
yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about horror video games, and should be a good time.
Is that next Saturday?
Yeah, do a little show
Cool.
and tell if you have anything you want to show and tell. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, and all the shit. That's the end, guys. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.